Today is February 7th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you in this lifeboat of recovery as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today we're going to be reading Chapter 10, Two Employers, pages 136 and 137. And we're also going to be reading Chapter 6, Step 6 of the 12 and 12. That'll be the second half of page 64. So with all that, my friends, let's get right to the big book. All right, my friends. So as you probably recall from the last time we read, kind of a dark note here, where we find out that this employer who recently let an employee named Mr. B go because of his exploits in alcohol, we find out that Mr. B has actually taken his own life. He'd written a note to the employer saying, "Hey, you were the best boss I ever had. It's not your fault." But still a very, very tragic story. So we're going to continue that on the bottom of page 136 and read 137 as well. Now, this is from the employer's perspective. Another time, as I opened the letter which lay on my desk, a newspaper clipping fell out. It was the obituary of one of the best salesmen I ever had. After 2 weeks of drinking, he had placed his toe on the trigger of a loaded shotgun. The barrel was in his mouth. I had discharged him for drinking 6 weeks before. Still another experience. A woman's voice came faintly over a long distance from Virginia. She wanted to know if her husband's company insurance was still in force. 4 days before he had hanged himself in his woodshed. I had been obliged to discharge him for drinking, though he was brilliant, alert, and one of the best organizers I'd ever known. Here were 3 exceptional men lost to this world because I did not understand alcoholism as I do now. What irony. I became an alcoholic myself. And but for the invention of an understanding person, I might have followed in their footsteps. My downfall cost the business community unknown thousands of dollars, for it takes real money to train a man for an executive position. This kind of waste goes on unabated. We think the business fabric is shot through with a situation which might be helped by better understanding all around. Nearly every modern employer feels a moral responsibility for the well-being of his help, and he tries to meet these responsibilities. That he has not always done so for the alcoholic is easily understood. To him, the alcoholic has often seemed like a fool of the first magnitude. Because of the employer's special ability, or of his own strong personal attachment to him, the employer has sometimes kept such a man at work long beyond a reasonable period. Some employers have tried every known remedy. All right, guys, we will stop there today. Definitely want to come back to that in just a minute. Now we'll jump into the 12 and 12. All right, my friends, so just a quick refresher on this as well. We were beginning step 6 a few days ago, and remember, step 6 is all about being entirely ready to have God remove all of our defects of character. That is a loaded step right there. Being entirely ready. Not an easy task. Certainly not an easy task. And then one of the last paragraphs we read, it said, having been granted a perfect release from alcoholism, why then shouldn't we be able to achieve by the same means a perfect release from every other difficulty defect? Goes on to say, this is a riddle of our existence, the full answer to which may be only in the mind of God. Nevertheless, at least part of the answer to it is apparent to us. So we're going to be continuing that and finishing off this page. When men and women pour so much alcohol into themselves that they destroy their lives, they commit a most unnatural act. Defying their instinctive desire for self-preservation, they seem bent upon self-destruction. They work against their own deepest instinct. As they are humbled by the terrific beating administered by alcohol, the grace of God can enter them and expel their obsession. Here, their powerful instinct to live can cooperate fully with their Creator's desire to give them new life. For nature and God alike abhor suicide. But most of our other difficulties don't fall under such a category at all. Every normal person wants, for example, to eat, to reproduce, to be somebody in the society of his fellows. And he wishes to be reasonably safe and secure as he tries to attain these things. Indeed, God made him that way. He did not design man to destroy himself by alcohol, but he did give man instincts to help him to stay alive. All right. So while this is fresh, but that's the truth. A lot of these instincts are God-given. It's when they go to the extremes that they become an issue, and I mean, in my own personal experience, alcohol was just one of the many things that was wrong with me. As I always say, alcohol was a deeper rooted issue, but, I struggled with an egomaniac with an inferiority complex. Maybe a little bit of that. Insecurity, fear, lots of fear. I had a lot of fear in me. And these are all instincts that can be used for good, but when they go to the extreme, they can actually be very damaging. So these are things that I can give to the God of my understanding as well. And I try to do that every day. When I get on my knees and I do the third step prayer, I try to mention not just the alcohol and that God would free me from the obsession of that, which I believe he has, and I praise him for that. But also free me from fear and insecurity and selfishness and self-centeredness. Those are the roots of my troubles right there. And I think that's what Step 6 is trying to get at the heart at as well, that there are other areas of our lives that drive us to drink as well. And if I don't give those to the God of my understanding, I might pick up that bottle again one day. And one last thing from the 12 and 12, I mean, just these two paragraphs, buddy, they're loaded, is right here in the middle of the first paragraph I read today. They work against their own deepest instinct. As they are humbled by the terrific beating administered by alcohol, the grace of God can enter them and expel their obsession. As I've said before in my own experience, alcohol kind of filled that hole in my soul for a while, right? Until it became so damaging. So when I finally surrendered and put the bottle down, something had to replace that hole that was in my soul. And I think it's beautifully said here that the grace of God can enter and expel their obsession. Expel my obsession. So that hole in my soul was from alcohol was now replaced by the grace of God. And I started thinking about the word grace so much, in fact, that I kind of went down the rabbit hole of Merriam-Webster and I looked up the word grace. And the very first definition that I see here is definition 1A, unmerited divine assistance given to humans for their regeneration or sanctification. I love that, especially the first part, unmerited divine assistance. Unmerited. I didn't do anything to deserve it. I'm completely unmerited. Yet God has given me grace. God has expelled this obsession from me and does it continually. But because of his grace and because of the fact that I've been given a second chance, I want to carry the message and I want to be able to help others. It's out of a heart of gratitude. And that's why I'm here, and I've seen grace work in others, and it is truly a beautiful thing to behold. And going back to the big book again, real quick, I think it's interesting that the employer who hears these 3 life-shattering stories of people who've taken their lives due to alcoholism, and then he becomes an alcoholic himself, that just goes to show you how powerful this disease is, and cunning and baffling, that it is a respecter of no persons. And it makes absolutely no sense that the employer would drink knowing this, but that is the cunning, baffling, powerful part of the disease. When I would drink, I would look for any single reason to drink, and sometimes I didn't have to have a reason at all. I just did it. I do know this. I would wake up sometimes bound and determined, I am not going to drink today. I am not going to drink today. And sure enough, by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, I'd be talking myself into it that quickly. It is a cunning, baffling, and powerful disease. And I am so grateful that God has relieved me of that obsession. And I am so grateful that you guys are here with me today. I hope you all have a great day today. And again, it is an honor to be here. I don't speak on behalf of AA or any other organization, sect, or denomination. I am just a guy, just a grateful recovering alcoholic. And truly, it is a privilege to be here. And I am looking forward to seeing you back here tomorrow.